Okay, so my lecture today, guys, is on mindset and how to build mental toughness. We were at dinner the other night, me and my wife. I like stories. You'll probably figure this out. And she actually asked me this question, which made me start thinking about how I would set up this seminar. And she said, you know, how would I improve my mental toughness? She actually highlighted within herself that she's mentally weak when it comes to tough tasks, when it's hard in the workouts. And she wanted to know how I seem to be a lot mentally stronger. And, you know, there's a short answer and a long answer to all of these things. So being the petulant husband that I am, my short answer was, well, you need to train for something hard and then stick to that task, and which you will. So let's say, for example, we set off on this 5, 10, 15 year journey towards this very difficult thing. You will pick up these mental toughness tips and techniques along the way. But my goal with this lecture is to shortcut some of that journey and maybe give you some of the experience that, you know, me and Jack have had of, 6 years of hard training, some of my military experience as well, and things that I've learned in those environments. So I'm trying to give you shortcuts, and I'm trying to make them as actionable and as usable as possible, particularly in the moment. So we have like 3 areas that I'm going to base my discussion upon. And these are military terms, but I think they're very usable on a member basis. So we've got strategic level mental toughness, operational level, and tactical. So strategic means across a training block or a training period. It could be like a year's worth of training, or it could be 3 months worth of training. It could be the breathe cycle. I was going to point to the sign, but it's not up. It could be the beast cycle. Yeah, it's blocks worth. Operational level is, you could think maybe week to week or day to day outside of the session. Okay, so your mindset and your mental toughness in that time frame. And then your tactical level is actually in the workout, maybe even less than that in a specific movement within a workout. So I'm going to come at this mindset and mental toughness from like high level, broad picture, medium level, closer down, and then in the very moment when you're in the pain, in the hurt locker. It's important to note that like all 3 levels are important to develop. So strategic level mental toughness is great for that broad time frame, but it isn't going to work when you're in front and you're breathing out your ass. Likewise, tactical level mental toughness is great, but it isn't going to work across a 3-month period. So we need to develop all of the levels. The strategic level, there's obviously many ways that we can come at this, but I'm trying to distill this to my experience, and I think that the best mental toughness tool that we have for the strategic level is the construction of a deep, meaningful, and powerful why for your training. And that might vary for individuals drastically. There's a technique called the 4 levels of why, which I would urge you to, outside of this environment, maybe ask or get a partner or significant other or a friend to ask. You know, you come to Shoutout Fit, why do you come to Shoutout Fit? And then once you've answered that question, someone might say, well, you know, I'm here to get stronger. And then go deeper, ask why again. Do it 4 times. And it will get you to think and reflect upon realistically why you're here. And it's often deeper and more powerful and sometimes painful than we want to go on a regular basis. But understanding this why is very important in the long time frame, in the big picture. So let's say, for example, a person's why might be that they don't want to become a burden on their family as they grow older. So this is my mum and dad right now who are training CrossFit at home in Kettering. You know, my dad recently had triple heart bypass surgery, and then off the back of that realized that he didn't want to be a burden to his family who needed care. And through advice from the doctor who told him you need to start training, now has a very powerful why, which is don't be a burden to my family as I'm getting older. My why is leadership based. So I train to earn credibility so that I can lead. So I've got really powerful and clever and experienced and intelligent people that work around with me and for me, people like Jack. And if I feel like my training is earning credibility with Jack, you know, the better I am as an athlete, the more credibility I have to help him, coach him, point him in the right directions and lead. Your why, I'm not going to ask you to think about it now. It needs to be done out of the moment, probably, you know, on your own or with one other person who means a lot to you. It's probably going to mean you have to be very vulnerable at a period of time and really think about what's important to you going forward. But the why, once it's constructed, can be very powerful outside of the moment. So you can look at like things in a training period. Why is it important for me to keep going to the gym during breathe cycle? You know, well, I want to be aerobically fit so I can achieve more work, X, Y, Z. Why is it important for me to compete in District L? Well, I want to learn about myself and improve my mental toughness and resilience, and competitions are a great place for me to be there. And often outside of the moment, you're going to get these questions come up, like I'm sure the girls sat in the middle probably when they got to District L were like, why the hell are we here? What are we doing? Yeah, this is mental. It's raining. We're asked to go on a rig and I feel out of my depth. A why can be very good out of that moment, because you'll be like, I'm here because I want to push myself out of my comfort zone so that I am a more capable and formidable human being. In my experience, in my why, I'm here at the French European level competition against these Scandinavian beasts who are a bit scary and intimidating, because I want to learn to lead in very difficult environments. Yeah? So whys are very useful, and I would suggest that you dig deep into your why outside of this moment when you get a chance to reflect. However, whys are very difficult to hold on to in the moment, okay? So your why might disappear when you're in the middle of a workout. It might disappear when you're on the drive home from work and you're thinking about whether or not you should go to the gym or not because you've had a bit of a bad day and you're feeling tired. The why is probably not going to help you there. You might need more operational level mental toughness and tips. So we'll look at operational level now to recap in and around the sessions. This might be weekly or daily. You're not actually in the session yet. You're not in the workout yet. And the first tip I have to improve mental toughness at the operational level is to pre-plan for execution and for adversity. Those are two different things. So pre-plan the workout, how you're going to do it, or the session, how you're going to do it, that's the execution. And pre-plan the workout, what are the points where the adversity is going to strike? Okay, where am I going to feel most challenged? And have a pre-plan of what you're going to do in those moments and what you're going to say to yourself in those moments. Military again, Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was the Allied Supreme Commander, said about planning that in preparation for a battle, I've always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable, because often the planning you do before doesn't apply in the moment, but having that plan in place allows you to react in the right way, respond in the right way, I should say. Okay, so we're using an example workout for this. Let's say, for example, we've got 1 RM back squat, into Fran. We all know what Fran is, 21, 15, 9, thrusters and pull-ups. So pre-planning in terms of the execution might be that I'm going to say to myself, well, I'm going to hit 100 kilos for my back squat. I'm going to make a decision. If that feels good, I'll go for a PB 105. Okay, if it doesn't feel good, I'm going to call it there. So I've got a pre-plan. I don't get sucked into the moment of people being like, oh yeah, do weights that I don't want to do. Go on, like, guys, you can do it, yeah? My pre-plan in Fran might be, I'm going to do the 21s in 3 sets of 7. I'm going to do the 15s in 3 sets of 5, and then I'm going to go unbroken on the 9s. That's my plan for execution. Okay? Then I might develop a plan for adversity as well. So my adversity in my back squat is I get to 100 kilos, just like I said I was, and it feels heavy. And I wasn't expecting that. Okay, what's going to be my plan there and then? Once I get to 100 kilos, if it feels heavy, what am I going to do? Maybe I'm going to say to myself, well, I'll back off and I'll do 2 sets at 90. I won't get sucked into trying a PB when it's not my day. Yeah? Plan for adversity during Fran is, we all know the 15s are miserable, aren't they? Yeah? And we know that probably when we get to the 15 thrusters, we're about halfway through, about 8 reps in, it's going to get real tough. So I might have a plan, okay, in my head for the adversity of that. So when that happens, what am I going to say to myself? And we might come on to some things I might say to myself in a second. But I'll have to have a plan, because if I don't, my thoughts are going to go wild, and I'm going to start saying things like, I can't do this, it's too heavy, I've not eaten enough, I've not slept enough, it's too hard, Max is a dick, he's always programming shit workouts, yeah? So I have a plan for the adversity so that I can respond in the right way and I don't react badly. Going into the workout, I've got a plan. Really, really important, guys. The plan that we make might and probably will adjust in the moment, but remember Eisenhower's quote, having a plan is way better than going in with nothing, because if you've got nothing, you're probably going to react badly and go down a path that you don't really want. You might decide at the 15, once you've done 7, that you're going to put the bar down, go and get a drink, think about how hard it is, and stop the workout entirely, yeah? Whereas if you've pre-planned in your head, when I get to 7, if it gets too heavy, break it down into 3s, you know what to do. You put the bar down, you step away, you do a 3. You put the bar down, you step away, you do a 3. You've got that plan that you can fall back to, yeah? Cool. So planning, guys, one of my big tips for mental toughness and strength. When we look at a really high performer, okay, someone who's you think has like incredible mental toughness, most of the time they've just got a better plan than you. And they've just fought through or experienced what happens when it goes wrong. Saw this a lot in the military with loaded marches and long duration events. Okay, most of the time, the platoon sergeant who's been there 15 years and is grizzly and has seen it all before has dealt with what happens when you roll an ankle, what happens when your Bergen's not packed properly, what happens when you get blisters on your feet. They've dealt with it, they've seen with it before, so it's not quite as alarming to them. And you might falsely look at people like me and Jack and go, well, they're just a lot more mentally tough. The chances are we've probably just pre-planned and experienced what goes wrong a little bit more than you have. Okay? Cool. Second top tip at the operational level, so out of the session, guys, is to manage your thoughts. And we're going to talk through a bit of a flow in terms of thoughts and levels that we can go through. So first level is victim. It then goes pessimist. It then goes optimist. It then goes realist. And then it goes competitor. So this is like levels that you will speak to yourself, and the amount of mental toughness you have is how quickly you can make your way down the levels. Okay? Everyone will, when I first heard about this, it was presented as you're either in a level or you're not. Okay? But I disagree, and I've created my own take on this, which is that everyone experiences all of these levels, but it's actually the tougher people, the more resilient people that make their way down quicker. So the first level, victim, let's take, for example, the class we just discussed, back squat, Fran. Victim thoughts would be something like, Max hates me, he always programs Fran when I'm in the class. I'm rubbish at thrusters and I'll always be rubbish because my rack's not very good. I'll never be able to do a pull-up. Okay. It's kind of woe is me thoughts, and it's all about you and how you're the victim in the situation. Pessimist is a level above that. It actually is quite a decent level of mental toughness, guys. Okay, so pessimist is a person who goes, pull-ups are hard, CrossFit is hard, this is a hard workout, and you kind of, it's not centered around you, but I'm still being negative. Optimist, a level above that, that's the guy who says, it's going to be okay. Maybe I'll be able to do a pull-up, it'll be fine. Okay, even when I'm fatigued. I'll be able to do the thrusters, even when it's hard. Yeah? The optimist shoots for unrealistic, nice, okay, what things? Yes, how you will. Unrealistic, nice outcomes. The realist goes, Fran's a tough workout. Parts of it I'll be okay on, other parts I'll struggle, and that's normal, and that's CrossFit, yeah? And then finally, there's competitor who goes, it doesn't matter that it's my worst day, I'm tired, I've had a hard day at work, I've, struggled to get here, and Fran's my hardest workout, I'm gonna learn something from this, and I'm gonna improve, and what am I gonna get out of it, okay? And everyone will experience all of these levels. Trust me, Jack, when he gets to France and he's on that worm, is going through victim thoughts. He's probably going like, my team aren't good enough for this. The worm's too heavy. We're going to struggle. Our coach hasn't prepared us for this. But he almost is so good now that he's moving past those instantaneously. He probably experiences some form of like, shit, this workout's going to be well hard. My legs are going to die, and my back already feels tight. Pessimist thoughts. He's going through, and very quickly he'll get to, but I have got strong legs, and Maddie is also a really good squatter, so hopefully we'll be okay. And then very quickly after that, he's going to get to, worm workouts are hard. We've got a good team. We might be okay, but it might also be really hard. And then finally, he'll finish the event, or maybe during the event, he's enjoying the competitive aspect of it, and he's going, I am learning, I am growing from this situation, and I want it to be hard. I didn't sign up to Battle for Middle Ground in Wolverhampton because I wanted to be at France, where the worms are heavy and the competitors are all Scandinavian. Yeah? Cool? So there are levels here, and my top tip is to manage your thoughts. Has everyone heard the quote, thoughts become your words, words become your actions, actions become behaviors, behaviors become character, character becomes destiny. Have you heard that quote? If you haven't, I'll go again. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your behaviors become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. Now, if we can stop these thoughts at thoughts, we're doing really well, guys. And you'll notice this in the classes after this lecture. You'll probably be in the classes with other people who are unaware, and they start spouting out levels. And I want you who are in this room and people who are watching the lecture to start being aware of your thoughts and stopping them at the thought level. The only ones that you're allowed to externalize are your competitor thoughts. And sends the hairs up at the back of my neck a little bit, guys, to say this, but you'd be surprised how much leadership you can do by being a competitor in these environments. So if you're the guy who stands at the whiteboard and goes, I'm really looking forward to Fran and the challenge it's going to present to me today, because I'll probably learn from it, you'll be way better off than the person who goes, I hate Fran. Shit. Why are we doing Fran again? Yeah. And you'll be surprised how uplifting it is to have, again, going back to my military experience, big exercises where you're out in Brecon Beacons for weeks on end, you've not slept, you've not eaten, there's a lot of negativity, it's raining, it's hard work. One competitor in a group can lift the entire group. One person who's looking at the challenge and what they can learn from it, how they can improve. One victim can pull the entire group down. And it don't last long, trust me, in the army, it doesn't last long. People with this mindset. Yeah, the absolute last thing you want when you're in Brecon and you're in that situation is for someone to go, oh, now it starts raining. It's always raining when I'm on exercise. Yeah, those people don't last long. They get pushed out because they're so weak mentally that they verbalize their victim thoughts. They verbalize the pessimist thoughts, okay? So I would like you to start managing your thoughts at the level and only verbalize competitor thoughts. And you'll be surprised how powerful that is for you and for everyone else in your circle. Massively powerful, okay? If you are verbalizing victim, pessimist, optimist, realist thoughts, then you're losing the battle. And you need to be able to switch as quickly as possible to competitor mode. Competitor mode being like that the challenge is what we want. The challenge is what we signed up for. Like the sensei that once he's defeated all of the people in his gym, in his dojo, goes to another gym to try and find a worthy adversary. The person who, when Matt Fraser retires, is disappointed, doesn't want the best person in the world to retire because the challenge is less. These are competitive style thoughts. You don't want an easy path. Okay, you want the hardest path because I'm going to learn the most from it. All right, guys? So just think about your mindset. By the way, you'll all experience these, and this is not just in training. You'll experience these on a daily basis, probably in all aspects. And some of us will be quick, very quick, to get to competitor. Okay, sometimes this process can take 3 months. Like, can be 3 to 6 months. Like an injury, for example. So Brent Fikowski gets injured, whatever it was, 2011, prior to making it to the CrossFit Games. And I imagine he went through this process. So how comes that happened to me? I don't deserve this, I'm working really hard. People get injured all the time in CrossFit, pessimist. Hopefully it'll be all right in 2 weeks, optimist. Actually, it's probably not going to be all right. People get injured sometimes. I'm going to have to work through some sort of rehab process. And then the competitor, what can I learn and improve upon in this situation? What is this injury giving me? Well, it gave him steely toughness to come back and qualify for the games and end up finishing 3rd. It also allowed him an opportunity to work on what he was weak at, which was his upper body, because he had a lower limb injury. That probably took him 3 months, okay? And the best competitors, the people with the most mental toughness, I've seen them. I'm not one of these, by the way. I've seen them in the military. They'll be there in 5 minutes. They're down straight away. You know, the CO, the colonel, has said you have to do another 10 miles, and he's already going, yes, buzzing. This is really going to test me and my blokes, and what we're going to learn from it. That's like elite, okay? But trying to shoot for just a level higher is where you start. And managing your thoughts early and not stopping them at verbalization is one of your key steps. Right, we've done strategic, we've done operational. We'll move on to the tactical now, which is actually in the workout. Trying to give you guys some actual tactical tips on things that you can do to help you help your mental toughness. So first technique we've got is bite sizing, guys. We've all done this, and CrossFit is actually amazing at teaching people this skill, which is just breaking tasks down. This is why chippers are so good. Let's say we've got 100 burpees, 100 cows, 100 wall balls. If we think about 100 of each, it's probably going to be too overwhelming and too challenging for us. So we don't think about 100 each, do we? You guys will automatically be doing this. You'll be saying to yourself some form of, well, let's just do 10s. We'll just do 10 times 10 with a little break in between. Makes it more manageable. At a certain point, like me and Jack might do 100 burpees unbroken, yeah? We won't have a rest. But in my head, I'm counting to 10, and I'm counting to 10 again. You just haven't seen the rest. But I'm not doing 100 burpees. I'm doing 10s. Okay, same as you guys. Maybe you need a rest at 10 burpees, that's fine. but you're breaking it down into manageable chunks. And this also happens in, like, we had Miko's square last week, which was that EMOM 40. A lot of people, and this is where I really want us to focus on this technique, bite sizing. A lot of people I coached it, so I know, 20 minutes in and started to struggle. And that was where they started dropping down and their numbers came down, okay? And that's because they probably had a bit of an optimist mindset. Oh, I'll be all right, I'll do 15 calories, I'll do 15 burpees for the full 40 meters, and I'll be fine. And then 20 minutes in, the rubber hit the road, and they were like, oh shit, this is getting hard. And instead of looking at bite sizing at that moment, they went, I've still got 20 minutes. I'm only halfway, okay? So at that stage, they needed to look maybe in 5-minute blocks. Just get the next 5 minutes in. Just get the next 5 minutes in, okay? Or when it gets real bad, when it's really hurting, in 1-minute blocks, guys. Just get the next minute in. Don't even think about the 40 minutes. Because if you do a 5-minute block, you're at 25, yeah? If you do another 5 1-minute blocks, you're at 30. You're only then 10 minutes away from the actual workout finishing. And this is how elite minds are working, guys. Again, you might look at someone like me or Jack who's doing the workout and you think, wow, he's the same throughout. He's the same pace. He holds the same calories. He's so fit, he's not hurting. Trust me, we are. We're hurting just as much as you guys. But in the moment, we're saying to ourselves, just get another round in. If he gets sucked into the fact that it's 40 minutes, he ain't going to do it. He's going to struggle mentally. So what he's doing is he's just breaking it down and giving himself, like I say stupid shit to myself when I'm doing like row intervals, yeah? I'll say the first 3, I'm doing no chalk on my hands, yeah? And then the next 3, I'm allowed to do a little bit of chalk. And then I'll do 1 more, so now I'm on 6 rounds. I'll do 1 more and then I'm allowed a drink. These are like little ways that I'm like bite-sizing 10 rounds of row intervals. But by the time I've done 3 with no chalk, 3 with chalk, 1 with a drink, I've only got 3 rounds left. I'm nearly there, you know? And that is how we need to start bite-sizing workouts into manageable chunks. An example with, we talked about Fran, would be 21, 15, 9. Obviously, we all know this, breaking it down into maybe 7s, maybe 5s, whatever. Breaking it down into chunks that are digestible, because 15 thrusters when you're absolutely hanging is unrealistic. And it's just being in the moment, being present and doing what you've said, 5s, yeah? Okay, next technique is bridging from a known source. So this is something I picked up from Rich Froning years ago when he gave an interview. So when Rich is doing a set of 21 on something, he doesn't think about 21. He thinks 21 might be achievable, but it's going to be hard. So instead he thinks about, I'm going to go to 15. And he almost lies to himself and says, I'm going to stop at 15. This is a good technique to like get you back onto an exercise when you've had a break. So let's say I'm in a workout and I'm dying, and my next exercise is 21 thrusters. What I'm going to say to myself, I'm going to tell a little lie. I'm going to go, I can't do 21, but I can do 15. So I'll pick it up and I'll start doing 15 thrusters. Yeah, and at the 15 mark, I'll go, just do 3 more. Yeah, I'm at 18 then, I might as well hold on. Yeah, I'm at 18, so I'll finish with another 3 to get me to 21. Now anyone watching that is going, this is different to bite size and by the way, I'll explain in a second. Anyone watching that is going, Max has done a set of 21 unbroken. Wow, how is he so mentally tough that he can go 21 unbroken when he's dying? But in my head, I'm not doing 21. I'm doing 15, plus 3, plus 3. And it's like, it really honestly works, guys. It sounds so simple that you're like, no way, right? But trust me, it works. Let's say, for example, I'm in that Miko's EMOM again. And the calories one people were struggling with, it was like 15, whatever it was, you choose. So let's say you've chosen to do 15 calories. I might say to myself, I'm going to do the first 8 calories at above 1,000 calories per hour. Okay? And the pace after that doesn't matter. But when I get there, I'm already 8 in. I've only got 7 to go. And I'm probably going to hold the remaining 7 at above 1,000 calories per hour. But I'm bridging from that point that I know I can achieve to a further point. And actually, again, same thing. Someone watching that workout would be like, oh, Max is so good at pacing. He did all 15 calories at above 1,000 calories per hour. But in my head, I'm not doing that. In my head, I'm doing 8 calories at 1,000 plus. And then when I get there, I'm going, wow, I might as well carry on now. I'm over halfway. Yeah? Bridging's different to bite-sizing because bridging is a known point that you can achieve. So I know I can do 8 calories at above 1,000 calories per hour. I know it. I know I can do 15 thrusters. I don't know I can get to 21. It's too painful. Maybe I'm going to have to rest. So I bridge from a set point that I know I can achieve. And again, this goes back to maybe your planning and execution. So you're looking at a workout and it's got 50 burpees in it. You know you can do 25 unbroken. Well, I want you to start saying to yourself, I'm going to go 25 plus 5. Yeah? And you might rest at 30 and that's cool. Maybe you go 25 plus 5 plus 2. You've got to 32. Brilliant. Way better than no plan, no bridging from a known point, and you get 10 in and you go, shit, this is too hard, and you have a rest. So through pre-planning, you can then bridge better because you bridge from known ability, known places, known paces, known goals, known things that you can achieve. Yeah? And see it as that. X amount plus X amount. Last tactical tip is externalization, which I just made up. It's not even a real word, I think. And this is avoidance of being sucked internal. Okay, and this is something I experienced a lot in the military and leadership. So when you're a platoon commander, you might have 30 blokes that you're managing on a particular march. And I can't be sucked into my own body of how much pain I'm in. Okay, I'm thinking about, are the blokes suffering? Who's the worst performer? He's looking red in the face, maybe he's dehydrated. Like I've got all these other thoughts going on in my head. And what that gives me is leader's legs. So I actually don't feel what's going on in my own body. And I'm not necessarily fitter than some of these guys, but because my head is out of my body and I'm looking at everybody else, I'll perform better. And this happens a lot in classes as well. You'll see when someone's struggling, they go internal towards themselves. Literally body language. Head will go down, eyes will go down. They don't care about what anyone else is doing. They'll often be lost in the workout, forget the rep scheme, not know where they are, not continue with good technique. Okay? So one of my big tactical tips for when you're struggling in a workout is to be external as much as you can. Elite performers, sportsmen do this with counting. And that sounds like it's too simple for it to be effective, but it absolutely is. The swimmers will count their laps. CrossFitters will count their reps. Counting is way better than internal thoughts of my legs hurt, my back's tight, my heart rate's out of control. Do you see the difference between that and 1, 2, 3, 4? One's external, one's internal. Think about what's going on around you, your surroundings. That might be music. Get lost in the music. Listen to the song. Don't listen to your own difficult voices, which are quite hard to listen to. Might be your technique, and this is one of the ones that I really beg you to think about. It's odd for me sometimes to watch. When someone struggles the most, they allow their technique to degrade the most. When you're hurting the most, think about your technique the most, because that's the thing that's going to save you. If you perform worse, you have poor movement quality, your pain is going to significantly increase. You'll see this on like a rower. You know, when someone's like blasting a rower fresh, technique's awesome. And then 5 minutes in, when they're dying in the workout, technique goes out the window and they're just suffering, head down, and you can almost hear their thoughts. This is too hard, I'm struggling, I'm not gonna hit my calories. Rather than like head up, chest up, technique, performing, thinking about how they move, because that's gonna help them out of the situation, yeah? So I'd like you to think about being external to your body, not internal, as best you can when you're in these difficult moments, difficult workouts. Okay, last one that you can use, which is often overlooked and fraught with a bit of risk, but I do have to explain it, is competitors. Now, there's a time and a space to compete. You're in a workout and I'm looking at the person next to me or the lane next to me. And so long as that person's not out of my league or too easy, as long as they're within, this is one of the best parts of CrossFit, is the class dynamics. There's always someone who's just above and there's always someone who's just below, yeah? And competing is a really good way of drawing your body out of that internal dialogue of, I'm shit, this is hard, blah, blah. Look at the person next to you and see if you can, you don't even necessarily have to beat them, but you might stay with them for a few reps. You might, if they're doing sets of 5, you do sets of 3. You know, lead off of them, compete with them. Competing is actually a useful tool. Comparison is useful in a specific setting to stop you from being too internally focused. Okay? The last thing that I'm going to talk about is, so we've gone through our mental tactics and tips, strategic base, which is in the block, operational base, which is in the week or the day, and then in a tactical base in the actual workouts, guys, yeah? Last thing I'm going to look at is a disclaimer, which is really important. Like, it's so important, this. None of this works if you don't follow through on your word, okay? So how we actually build mental toughness and resilience is we make these decisions and then we follow through with them. If we don't, we'll actually have a negative impact on our mental toughness. So if there's an account, a bank account with £100 in it, I keep using money, I'm like so more money orientated, aren't I? And this is our mental toughness account. Okay, if I, at the strategic level, say to myself, I'm going to do 15 sessions this month, I'm going to maximize my membership, and I do it, wicked. +5 in my mental toughness account, awesome, okay? The opposite is also true, which is why it's a disclaimer. If I say to myself, I'm the type of person, I am the guy who gets 15 sessions in, and I don't, I get 12 in, I'm down, okay? My mental toughness suffers as a result. At this level, right, if I plan before Fran that I'm going to do it in 3 7s, okay, and then I get there, and not because the workout's been hard and I've had to adjust on the fly, I get scared, I shit myself just before, and I do 4 5s instead, I'm losing money. I'm down at 90, okay? If I start talking to myself badly in the workout, and I'm the person who verbalizes at the whiteboard, oh, I hate this one. Can't do anything. You know, I'm the type of guy, I can't do pull-ups, what's the point? I'm down at 85. If I bite-size the workout into chunks and say I'm going to do my 100 burpees in 10 sets of 10, okay, and I get to the first set of 10 and I give up at 7, I'm down, okay, I'm at 75 now. Do you get the picture? Yeah? If you make promises to yourself, I get to 21 thrusters and I say I'm going to do it at 15 +3, and I get to 12 and I put the bar down, again, you're making a negative impact on your own mental toughness. The opposite is also true, guys. If you start making promises to yourself and keeping them, you gain mental toughness, you gain strength, you gain ability to do that, yeah? I've written making promises to yourself and not keeping them is toxic. I genuinely do think it is toxic. Making promises to yourself and keeping them is magical. Like the two sides of defense there, it really is, it's that important. Like making sure that you are following through on your word and your internal thoughts. Alex Hormozy, who's a bit of a role model for me, he recently did a quote where he said, "You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, you become confident by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt." I'd like to rework that a little bit when it comes to mental strength, and I've written, you don't become mentally tough by shouting affirmations in the mirror, you become mentally tough by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are mentally tough. Out your mental weakness by delivering on your word. So at every level you get opportunities to build mental toughness or diminish it, and it's your choices that will impact that, guys. Yeah. So circling back to my wife, the number one thing that she needs to do, okay, when she asked me in that meal, what do I need to do to build my mental strength, is start following through on her own word to herself. Okay, strategically, because my wife says I'm going to do 5 sessions a week, 20 sessions a month, and she doesn't do it. Operationally, because, you know, she'll say to herself, I'm going to do 7s in a workout, and she doesn't, she does 5s. And she'll not be able to manage her thoughts. And then tactically within workouts, bite-sizing, bridging, and building that resilience. Now, just to circle around, because this isn't a wife-beating session, you know, she's incredibly tough, my wife. So if anyone's going to turn around, it's her. So when she makes that decision, I am going to improve, she will. And she's just that awareness piece, which is what I hopefully have given you guys today. Some like hopeful awareness of how you make decisions, and some hopeful awareness of some tactics and some tips for your training, month to month, week to week, session to session, minute to minute.